Hi everybody, welcome to my channel Frugalisama. My name's Sam. This is where I talk about all things dressmaking, and today is day 56 of 100 days of sewing and another Frugal Friday. Hey! I've got 5 new free patterns for you today, lots of discounts and some giveaways including a sewing machine, so keep watching. First of all, I'd just like to say thank you if you're new here. I've had lots of new subscribers recently. If dressmaking and dressmaking on a budget's your sort of thing, please remember to like, comment and subscribe. If you hit the notification bell, that will tell you when I've got new videos up. I record on a Friday usually with the Frugal Fridays, and then I usually have something for you midweek and on a Sunday as well. So on to today's video. And I'm going to start with the free patterns as usual, and everything that I talk about will be linked down below. Look like a proper YouTuber, don't I? Everything's linked down below, including what I'm wearing, which I nearly always forget to tell you about. This is the Greco tee from Ensemble Patterns. I'll put a picture in of me wearing it, and this is a free pattern as well. I'm going to start off with a new one from Peppermint magazine, and that's a jumpsuit pattern that I've just spotted. It's the Valet jumpsuit, and it's actually been designed by the designer behind Ready to Wear Patterns. She's a French designer called Raphael Bonami, so it's a great opportunity for you to try her patterns if you've never tried them before. Ready to Wear have got some really nice patterns actually, so it would be a good opportunity to try. I'll just briefly cover some of the design details of the pattern. Basically, it's a boat-necked collarless jumpsuit with an elasticated waist. Got buttons down the front. It does have a keyhole fastening at the back, so maybe the buttons can be sewn up if you're not into buttons. It's got grown-on dolman sleeves, quite long, and it's got actually quite an interesting way of constructing it in that there are only 2 leg pieces. The front and the back are actually joined, so there's probably no side seams. I think there's just an inseam on it. It's designed for woven fabrics, so the actual sample on the Peppermint magazine, it's a cotton poplin. You could use a chambray or something with a little bit of drape such as tencel. It'd be fab in a linen or something like that. Or you could even try it in something a little bit thicker like a needle cord if you're going into autumn, winter. So there are 2 size ranges with this. Range 1 is designed for a B cup and range 2 is designed for a D cup, so you don't have to do any FBAs or anything like that, although there's no actual bust darts on this, I don't think. The size range for the B cup is 32 to 46, which equates to a 32 to 40 inch bust, or ish, because it's been converted from centimetres into inches. And that is a 24 to 34 inch waist. And then range 2, which is designed for the D cup, it's 42 to 54 inch bust. So it's a little bit confusing really, because the actual sizes don't equate to the bust sizes. But yeah, there's a lot of ease built into this jumpsuit. There's about 12 inches around the bust and 19 at the waist. Just have a look and see whether you fit within the finished range and whether that's the amount of ease that you're comfortable with. There's lots of support over on the Ready to Wear website for making adjustments. It is quite fabric hungry, is this one. It's asking for 365 centimetres, which is a random amount, for the smallest size of 140 wide fabric, and up to 4.5 metres for the largest size. And that's probably because of the grown-on sleeves. I do find that anything with grown-on sleeves does take up a lot of fabric, and it is a really interesting construction in that the pattern isn't cut on the fold, it's cut on a single layer of fabric. So I reckon if you wanted to have shorter sleeves, for example, then you would save quite a bit of fabric on that one. If you don't like doing buttons, you could use snaps. Like I said, I did notice there's a keyhole on the back, so I'm imagining that you can get it on and off without actually having to undo those buttons. But they are saying that it's breastfeeding friendly, so obviously the buttons are functional on some level. So I thought that was a nice little touch. And there are only 3 pattern pieces, and that includes the pocket. So Peppermint magazine, patterns are free, but you have got the option to donate to a Ko-fi account if you so wish. And they are very easy to download. You just click on the download and it's there. There's no putting in your email address or anything like that. It just gets saved straight to your computer. So next up is a pattern from Tefal. Yes, the people that make irons. I was a bit surprised by this one, and it's thanks to one of my lovely viewers, Leptis Magna, that gave me the heads up on this one. So this is a classic shift dress, but with a really lovely, unusual stand-up collar. It's designed for like a stiffer cotton fabric. They are suggesting that you can use a quilting cotton for this one. You do need something sort of medium weight, I would say. They are only saying cotton on the website, but I would imagine anything with a little bit of stiffness in it, just to give that collar the ability to stand up. I really love the collar detail on this one. It's just a classic shift dress. It's not a massive size range. Above the size range on the screen, I've forgotten to write it down. It does come with a couple of caveats, does this one. Number one, there are no seam allowances included in the pattern, so you will have to add those. I think that's fairly typical for quite a lot of the European patterns. And number two, it's written in German. Now hold your horses. With a bit of guile and imagination, you will be able to translate this. If you download it into Google Docs, and there is a translate button there, and I'll put that on the screen as I'm talking. So yeah, I think with a little bit of extra work, it's well worth downloading this one. It's just a classic shape with a little bit of a difference on the collar detail there, and ideal for our Frugal Frocks challenge, which I'll tell you a little bit more about at the end. There is a whole wealth of foreign language patterns out there that I've yet to uncover, and I might dedicate one of my Frugal Friday videos to all foreign language free patterns as well that I've found. So I've been sent a lot of links to Russian ones. I know quite a lot of the Russian ones, but if you've got any favourite ones in any other languages, let me know below. And I'll put something together for the foreign language ones, and also go through how you can get to them as well. Right, so Mood have brought out 2 patterns this week, and if I'm being totally honest, they're not to my taste, but they might be to somebody else's, so I thought I'd just feature them very quickly here for you. The first is called the Bridgerton dress, which is a square neckline with little puff sleeves with a high empire waist and a little bit of ribbon detailing as well. It's got a dress with an overlay on it, so it's suitable for voile or an organza or a chiffon, and then whatever you want underneath. So no prizes for guessing where they've got the idea from this. Obviously they're Bridgerton fans over on Mood. I must be the only person who've never seen that. So yeah, I do like certain elements of it. I do like a square neckline, for example, but obviously I'm in the minority, because if you look at the comments in the blog post that accompanies it, I don't think I'm their demographic, shall we say. And similarly, the Jarrah dress that they've brought out this week, I think that's inspired by Bridgerton as well. So you've got with this one a very deep plunging neckline, a little bow in the centre, and then some beading details around the waistline. So I think you're going to need your vest on with this one. It's a bit revealing. Yeah, I think, again, not my demographic, I don't think. I think it probably appeals to somebody a little bit more young and nubile than me. So they're saying this one is suitable for a cotton sateen, a silk mikado, whatever that is. Thought that were an opera, and a satin. Or a Satan, as I've written down here. I mean, neither of those are for me, not even for nightwear. If you stay tuned, you'll see what I wear for nightwear. But yeah, it might be appealing to some people, so I thought I'd just feature them. The reason I'm mentioning Mood is because I've just sewn up my first pattern with Mood, so we'll have a full review of that coming up on Sunday, just to show you how I get on and how we download the patterns and everything like that, because I've had a few questions about that. But also they do have some really interesting little articles on their blog posts, and one is looking into necklines. So I thought I'd just mention that because last year was the year of the sleeve, this year seems to be the year of the neckline, and I've mentioned a few times about the square necklines, which they've featured on this Bridgerton dress. And what they've done is looked at several of the neckline trends and then paired it with the patterns that they've got up for offer, which I did think was quite interesting actually. You can actually copy trends if that's the thing that you're into. So I'll leave a link to that as well for you. So last but not least, number 5 is the Brianna, and that is a knot fronted top designed for knitwear. To be honest, I actually found this about a month back and forgot all about it. The pattern designer is called Anina J, which is Janine backwards. I think she's called Janine. New to me pattern designer. She's just released her 11th pattern, but for her 10th pattern she released a free one. It's a really, really nice top. It's designed for knits. She's recommending something with a little bit of a drape, so something like something with a viscose in it or an ITY. She does say scuba, but I don't know how you poke that tie through to make the knot detail. I don't think a scuba would work, to be quite honest. Not the experience that I've got with scuba anyway. To get the pattern, you put in your email address and then she emails it over to you in a couple of days. So don't do it if you're wanting to make it the same day. It does take a day or two for her to email it across. With the pattern comes a workbook, but the workbook is only brief. It's sort of giving you how to download the pattern and stick it together and a few little hints and tips. The main instructions for the pattern are in the form of a YouTube tutorial. And it was really interesting with the YouTube tutorial because she actually goes through the design process of how she came up with the pattern. It's not overly long, it's not hours and hours. I think it's about 15 minutes or something like that. So I really liked this one, and I thought again this would be another good one for our little challenge, the Frugal Frocks challenge, in that you could extend it a little bit like I extended the Vera dress, just extending it at the waistline into an A-line. I think that would make a really nice elegant dress. So the sleeves on it, she doesn't say there's sleeve options. It's a bell sleeve, then it's elasticated into the cuff, and you could just leave that open as a bell sleeve, a bit like you do with the Vera pattern as well. And I would imagine you could make it a short sleeved if that's your preference. So I really love the one that she's got, the picture of the one with the stripes, how she's played with the stripes, because there is a seam down the centre front, so you can do that just to get that knot in. Size range, she's got a relatively limited size range at the moment. Like I say, she is only a new pattern company. She is releasing patterns every 3 weeks, so keep an eye on her for her patterns and see what else she brings up. So the size range is extra small to extra large. That's a 32-inch bust up to a 44-inch bust, and a 29-inch waist up to a 40-inch waist. So she could potentially increase the size range, I would imagine, once she becomes a bit more established. It's nice to try a new designer out. So I think there's only A4 and US letter size format. I don't think there's any A0 format, but there aren't a lot of pages on it, to be honest. It's not a massive pattern. If you see this before the end of February, and you are a quick sewer and you've got something in your stash, you could actually enter this into the Top of the Tops competition that Minerva are running. They've got £10, £100 vouchers, and it doesn't matter where you've got your top from or your fabric or where you live. That is open to everybody. Did feature that in last week's video, or was it the week before? I'll link it below for you. Right, so on to discounts now, and some exciting news from Winter Wear Designs, because I've had my first modelling commission. No, not really. I've mentioned before that I pattern tested for Suzanne Winter, who is the designer at Winter Wear Designs, and the pattern's been released this week. And with the pattern release, there is a discount. Calling it the Classic Sleep Set. So instead of the $9.95 that it's normally going to be costing, it's just $6.50 for the release date. It doesn't actually say how long for. You've got your classic pyjamas with a lapel and a pocket, and got all sorts of options on this. She's really gone to town with it. Probably do a full review on it, so I won't go into too much detail, but you can do shorts, capri length. You can have pockets in your pyjamas. I've done a short sleeve just because that's the fabric that I had available, but different sleeve lengths, and then you can make the shirt part of it into a night shirt as well. So yeah, loads of options for that one. And she's recommending woven fabrics for this, so your cottons. I made it with a shirting cotton that I pulled out of a remnant bin. Anything silky or a flannel, it'd be really nice in a flannel. So yeah, I'll do a proper review of that a bit later on, but for now it's just $6.50. So the size ranging for Winter Wear Designs is really quite good. She goes from extra small to 5XL, or 5X I think she calls it, and that equates to a 28-inch bust up to a 57-inch bust, and a 24-inch waist up to a 53-inch waist. I really wish I'd got better photographs for that when I was testing, but it really was truly freezing outside. I wasn't prepared to stand outside any longer, so I really enjoyed testing for that. She always does a $3 pattern as well, and that this week is a child's pattern, which is called the Wildflower dress, and that's for its age range of 18 months up to 16 years. So if you've got a little girl to sew for, that'd be nice, or it'd be a nice bridesmaid's dress actually if you've got any weddings coming up. So a couple more pattern releases, both of them are actually jackets. One is a unisex one and one is a ladies one. So I shall start with the ladies one first, and that is by Charlotte Emma Designs. This is her very first pattern, and what a pattern, really well done, Charlotte, if you're watching. I know she's worked really hard on this. It's quite fitted at the waist, and then it flares out at the hip. So vintage inspired. I would say it's a cross between the Jessica and the Princess jacket that Gertie did last year, both of which I've made. But this is discounted for the release date. I think it's down to £10.20 instead of £12. She's a bargain, because you've got loads of techniques in here that if you're wanting to up your skills a bit and make your first jacket, I reckon there'll be lots of hand holding on this one. So it is aimed at your advanced to intermediate sewers, is this. It's not aimed at a beginner. It's going to be lovely in a wool tweed or something like that. Nothing too heavy, sort of a medium weight wool. A tweed or a brocade, or even like a coating fabric, a lighter weight coating fabric. The bodice comes in 6 panels, so she's not recommending anything with patterns on, because that would just break up the pattern and spoil it, I think. So it's fully lined, you've got welt pockets, you've got 2-piece sleeves, you've got a notch collar. Not as difficult as you think, honestly, it really isn't. once you've done one, you'll think, what's all the fuss about? Welt pockets and then pocket flaps as well. And she's also done this in 2 cup sizes, so you've got a B cup and a D cup. The B cup will go sizes 4 to 36, which equates to 32 to 46 inch bust, and then the D cup range is 44 to 60 inch bust. So there is a slight overlap. If you lie between them, you can grade between them, if you know what I mean. So there's no code required for that. I think £10.20 really is a bit of a bargain for level of detail in this. It is only drafted for somebody who's 5'4", so if you are taller, you will need to do a bit of grading to lengthen it. There's no code to put in, the code's automatically applied. So next up is the Utility Jacket by Wardrobe by Me. Now, a lot of the branding on this says it's a men's jacket, but I think a lot of the pattern testers have been women and they've actually made it for themselves, so I think they've sort of decided it's a unisex one. It looks absolutely fine. The only thing is that the size ranges are giving it its chest rather than a bust size, but you can work it out, and there's lots of ease in it actually. Lots of military style details in this, and it depends on how you finish it off, how down the line of military you go. One of the pattern testers has really gone to town with piping around it, and it looks absolutely fab. So you've got a lined body, not the sleeves, the body's just the body's lined. A waist casing so you can adjust it at the waist, so it'll be fairly straight through at the waist, I would imagine. And then you've got a zipper and a button band as well. So the button bands are great as a wind guard. So, it looks like a walking jacket. And if it's going to look like a walking jacket, then it should function like a walking jacket, in my opinion. So yeah, they are saying it's an all-weather classic. So perfect for outdoor activities, walking. My husband would love this for angling with all those pockets. There's loads of pockets on it. I'm not making him one though, because he's got a perfectly good one. So I won't be making him one. But yeah, it would be a perfect angling jacket if you've got somebody in your life who's an angler. It's designed for somebody who's between 5'6" and 6 foot, and depending on which side you go, gets taller, which is a bit odd because just because you're bigger doesn't mean to say you're taller. But anyway, I think that might be a menswear thing. So the smallest size is actually 28.5 inch chest, which would be good for teens. And then it goes up to a 46 inch chest. But the finished measurements are 39 inch up to 59.5 inch, so you've got a lot of ease in there. So you'll be able to get a really good big jumper underneath. Fabrics suggestions are a coated twill, wax canvas or something like that. It'd be nice in a lightweight wool or even a cord or something like that, or an oilskin, I would imagine. So at the moment this is €12. So yeah, both of those are a little bit more advanced, but I would say totally doable. It's just one step at a time. So if you're fancying extending your skills a little bit, go for it. And decent prices, you're not spending a lot of money on a pattern. A lot of pattern pieces, I imagine though. So just 2 more discounts, and that is one from Style Arc. They've got 25% off site wide at the moment. I'll put the code on whilst I'm speaking. And also Little Lizard King, they've got 30% off 3 of their new patterns. 2 of them are children's patterns, that's the Vallejo and the Pacifica, and then the Benicia, that is a lady's and a child's dress as well. Dress and top actually, and there's lots of options with that one. 4 sleeve options, you can do it as a dress or a top, and then you've got 3 neck options as well on that Benicia. So really good value pattern is that one. And if you need any help with printing of your patterns, I've got a little discount code for Fabricate, the fabric shop that I work for, and that is giving you 20% off. It is for the Frugal Frocks challenge, so ideally you would be using it for that, but you can put in as many patterns as you like on one order, so you could put your free pattern on there and then sneak in some of these if you want. So that's it for discounts, and on to giveaways now, and I've got some really good ones this week. We've not seen any free patterns from Fibre Mood for quite a while, but they have just launched a new fabric line. Got a giveaway over on Instagram, and that's 2 vouchers worth €150, so I think that's a really good prize. So it seems that they've named all their fabrics after the patterns that they've got within their latest Fibre Mood magazine. So if you've seen a picture in the magazine and you're wanting a fabric that's similar to it, then you can just go to their website and it's there for you. So I think that's a really good idea actually. You just need to follow them, like the post, and then tell them why you need the fabric. We all need fabric. So you don't have to tag anybody into this one. So that's good for people who are a little bit shy about tagging people. Winners are revealed on the 1st of March, so I would get your entries in as quickly as possible. So we've got a new podcast in town. So I thought I'd talk about that a little bit because they've got some giveaways on that called the Punk Frockers. That's Beverly Baptiste and a lady called Jen. The first one was up last Tuesday, I think. They're intending on doing a weekly podcast, but doing a monthly challenge with a theme or a topic. They've not actually announced the theme or the topic, but then with the challenge there is a giveaway. And I got a little honorary mention, which I was really chuffed about. So yeah, they had a really good rapport, covered lots and lots of subjects. We're talking about inclusive sizing and things like that. And I know that Beverly does watch these videos because she's left me a comment below. So if you're watching, Beverly, thanks for the shout out. That's really kind of you. They are doing this monthly draw, so it's worth a listen. I always like a new podcast to listen to. If you subscribe, then you will get the notification. So another podcast that I listen to is Uncut, and that is Juliet Uzor and Alice and Atia. And they've got quite a nice little podcast that's quite brief, and they often interview people. And this time it was a Duco from Dovetailed, London, who runs her own company selling African wax prints, and she's brought out a new book. And they were chatting to her about appropriation or appreciation, which is an interesting little topic. So go and listen to that. But Aduco has just brought out a new book. It's 25 or 26 projects sewing with African wax prints, not all clothes. So over on her Instagram account, Dovetailed London, she is giving away a copy of the book, fabric to the value of £50. Obviously this is going to be African wax print fabric, and a sewing machine. Now the sewing machine is a Genome, which I can vouch for. That's the sort of sewing machine that I use, although I think this is a better model. I think it's a 740 DC. So I can't remember the value of it. I think it's about £600. It's a far fancier one than mine. So the competition for that closes on the 2nd of March. So again, you need to get your entries in during this weekend. You will need to follow her, like the post and tag a friend. And as always, I say this every week, if you don't feel comfortable tagging anybody, feel free to tag me and Frugalisama over on Instagram as well as here. I really don't mind. Now, calm yourselves. It is UK only, is this one. It's probably because of how much it would cost to post off a sewing machine abroad. But there is a competition over at Sew News to win a Hertz Gabbana, and that's US only. I mentioned that in, was it last week's or the week's before video, so I'll put a link to that at the end, and that's still open. So a quick mention for a challenge coming up in March with the Sew Over 50 team, and that is the Sew 50 pattern mixing. I thought this was an interesting one. They often run challenges, but they don't often have prizes, don't Sew Over 50, but there are prizes involved in this one. It is open to everybody. You don't have to be over 50 to do anything with Sew Over 50. They're an inclusive group, preferably somebody who sews, but you're going to have to make something, so you're going to have to be a sewer. So they're encouraging you to sew a garment, mixing patterns basically, mixing different fabrics and patterns. So if you've got some little remnants of gingham and stripes and polka dots and things like that, throw them all together a la Prada and come up with something wonderful. This is a March challenge, and it finishes on the 31st of March, and everybody who puts anything, who tags them in correctly, and I'll put the tags on the screen, will be entered. So if it's just an inspiration photograph or a works in progress photograph or your completed garment, everything will be entered. There's all sorts of prizes. I won't go through them all. There's things like a sewing table, PDF patterns, so that will be open internationally, some vouchers for fabric as well. So it's a great way of using up all those scraps that you might have had hanging about. And why not combine it with the challenge that we're running, myself and Ruan at the Yorkshire Sew Girl, and make a dress and combine the two, double dip? Yeah, so I think that would be a really great fun challenge. And like I say, you don't have to be over 50 to enter. It's open to anybody. Which segues me nicely onto our little challenge, which is the hashtag Frugal Frocks 2021, which I'm running with Ruan at the Yorkshire Sew Girl. Very briefly, we're asking you to make a dress from a free pattern using fabric that you already have in your stash. So we don't want you to go out and buy fabric. The challenge is being run all through March, so starting on the 1st of March. Again, you can post your works in progress and your ideas and your inspiration, but the reveal date for the actual frock itself is the 31st of March. Tag myself at Frugalisama and Ruan at the Yorkshire Sew Girl, and hashtag Frugal Frocks 2021 so that we can see you. And it is being run on Instagram because that's the only way that we can do this. We don't have a Facebook page or anything like that. Nothing that fancy. I've got a full list of everybody that has been involved below and with links to their channels. and I've got a playlist as well. So I really hope you've been enjoying all the vloggers' contributions to this. There's been some fantastic ideas, people looking through their own pattern stashes and fabric and to give you some inspiration. So far we've had Judi from Running So and So. She picked up some fabric in France in one of her trips to France, and she's actually looked at some French patterns as well, so I thought that was really interesting, a little bit of a different spin. Then we've had Anna from You've Got Me in Stitches. She's looked at some fabric and patterns that she already had, including some vintage patterns, some really nice vintage patterns that she's got. Sharon from Sharon Sews has been on. She has some tutorials of her own that have been on her blog post that she's shown you to DIY your own dress patterns, which is completely acceptable. What we're trying to do is make it a low spend or no spend challenge, so if you want to draft your own patterns, that's absolutely fine, or even copy a ready to wear. Then we had Gemma from the Hammy Dressmaker. She was looking at some plus size patterns and had some fantastic ideas about mixing and matching some fabrics. And then Becca from Becca Pages is actually pregnant, so she was looking at maternity friendly patterns as well. Then we've had Rachel from Stitched Up, who she had a countdown top 10 of patterns she found, and she actually featured some patterns from Laura at So Different, who's actually one of our sponsors. We'll run over the sponsors later. And then this morning we've had Liz from The Baker That Sews, and she was looking at some patterns that she got free in magazines and a couple of vintage ones that a friend had given her, and some beautiful fabrics that she's got there as well. She's actually got a couple of patterns that I've had free in magazines over the years as well. And Liz had a pattern from Woman's Weekly, so if you're a Brit like me, it might have brought back memories for you. It reminded me of my grandma. My grandma used to get Woman's Weekly, but she had a beautiful 70s pattern there. I do hope that you've been inspired by all the vloggers and that you will go check them out, and over the weekend just catch up with them. The videos aren't particularly long, so you can catch up. And if you're in any doubt of what the rules are, I'll put a card in. It is just free patterns. It is fabric from your stash. If you don't have a great amount of fabric stash, try looking at maybe upcycling a bed sheet or a duvet, or even old makes. If you've got an old maxi dress or ready to wear, you could use something like that. Do have a video about talking about things like that, which I'll link to at the end. We don't want you to go out and buy fabric. That's not the point of the challenge. It's Frugal Frocks, so we don't want you to be going out and buying fabric. Obviously there's no fabric police. We don't know when you've bought it. We're not coming and checking receipts, but we're gonna have to trust you. And then coming up this weekend we've got Renata from Twilight Stitches tomorrow, and our very own Ruan is coming up on Sunday with her thoughts and ideas, so I've been really interested to see what she comes up with. I've absolutely no idea, even though we've been talking every day, twice a day, more than twice a day. I've no idea what she's going to come up with. I do hope that you'll go across and find some new sewing vloggers to watch and get inspired for this competition, because we have got some fab prizes. So Ruan and I have been revealing prizes every day over on Instagram. We've been doing one each every day. So far we've had a €35 voucher from Andrea at Beyond the Pink Door. We've had labels and vouchers from Little Rosy Cheeks. We've had PDF downloads from Winterwear Designs, Size Me Sewing, and Laura at So Different. They've both got a new pattern collection out, and they've got the PDF downloads for that. Wendy Ward's book, A Beginner's Guide to Dressmaking. We've got a pattern and some scissors and some calico from B&M Fabrics in Leeds. £10 voucher from Laura at the Becky Seamstress. Goodie bag from This Is For Makers to the value of £40, and a voucher from Lamazi Fabrics as well. And obviously the discount code that I keep telling you about for Fabricate, which is 20% off for your printing. So I think I've gone on long enough. This is going to take hours and hours to edit. So that's it from me this week. I hope you've enjoyed this, and lots of inspiration for the challenge and some fantastic new patterns. I'll be back on Sunday with a pattern review from Mood, and I shall speak to you later. Thanks for watching. Bye.